All right. Welcome, everybody, to today's webinar. We're going to be talking about how you can unlock Odoo's flexibility with Studio. My name is Gokul, and I'm your friendly Odooer here with you today. And I'm going to be talking to you about how you can utilize Odoo Studio to maximize your business processes and your workflows. That's me right there. Now, today's agenda is going to be pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to give you a little bit of history about Odoo, tell you who we are, what we're about, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of background about what Studio actually is. So you have some understanding before I jump into a demo and kind of walk you through Studio. I just want you to get some sort of understanding as to what Studio actually is. And then I'm going to talk to you about some key points about what you can do with Studio in terms of building. And then I'm going to talk about how you can customize your applications with Studio, and then how you can optimize your business processes with the help of Studio. And last but not least, at the end, we are going to go over some questions and answers. So please feel free to ask questions away. Let me know if you have any questions at all. And if I don't have time to answer any of your questions, I do apologize, but feel free to shoot me an email, let me know, and I'm more than happy to get back to you at a later point in time. With that being said, now let's jump over and give you a little bit of history of what Odoo is. Odoo is a comprehensive suite of business applications designed to meet the needs of companies of all sizes. We did start in 2005 in Belgium, and we've been growing ever since. As you can see here, we have over 4,000 employees at over 175 countries with over 12 million happy users. Some of the key features of Odoo include integrated applications, where you can integrate applications such as CRM, sales, manufacturing, inventory, accounting, and more. The next thing is with Odoo, you can do a modular approach. And what I mean by that is you can start with just simple applications to get yourself going, and as you scale and grow, add more applications. And Odoo is highly customizable so that it will fit your business specific requirements. And what I mean by that is Odoo, imagine having your business in one platform. So instead of having 7, 8 different applications to manage your entire business, you have one application that takes care of it all. It's simple, it's efficient, and it's affordable. And as you can see here, it's a lot. There's a lot of different applications that you can utilize, and frankly, they not like us. So with that being said, right, you have all these applications at your disposal at any time. If you want something to improve on, there's probably an app for that in Odoo. There's no complexity. There's no additional cost to adding these applications. It's just a simple one-click install. Now, when everybody has the right tool for their job, with the correct integrations in place, you not only get happy employees, but you get happy customers. And that's the power of Odoo. Now that you have a little bit of history of Odoo, let me talk to you about Studio. What exactly is Studio? Studio is a very powerful tool used for creating custom business applications. With Studio, you can build and modify applications with with no coding or programming experience. And thanks to its user-friendly and drag and drop editors, you can make your business processes, you can modify your applications on the fly with just a simple drag and drop. It seamlessly integrates with all the existing Odoo applications and modules, allowing for real-time updates and immediate viewing of changes post your customizations. Now that you have a little bit of understanding of Studio, what can you do building with Studio? So building with Studio is very straightforward. The drag and drop builder easily lets you design application layouts. You can create custom forms and views to tailor to your business specific needs, develop unique workflows, even add some automations throughout your processes. And that's something that's more towards the optimization, but that's something that you can do right off the bat. The modular development approach ensures that your applications are scalable and easily updatable. Plus, you can test your application features as soon as you're done with the customization. Now, when it comes to the customization itself, what can you do? So you can add, remove, or modify fields in order for you to capture the necessary data. It gives you great flexibility so that you can create dynamic fields, you can manage your data very efficiently, and you can adjust the layouts to fit your requirements. So it gives you the option to kind of customize and tailor it based on what you're looking for. And you can also implement any conditional logics to your processes, and you can also do any data entries and validations, etc. And that's also something that comes along with the optimization, but we like to add it in the customization feature itself. Right. Now, when it comes to the optimization, Odoo excels in terms of optimization. Now, you can fine tune your workflows and processes. You can add data validation rules such as approvals. You can even add conditional accesses. And then you can also add user permissions. And you can grant someone specific access to specific applications, as well as what kind of access they will have within that application. And what I mean by that is, let's say there's a particular field in Odoo that you do not want someone to touch. You only want them to have the ability to read that field. With the help of optimization and customization and using Studio, you can make sure that your employees only have access to what they need to have access to. And you can also create custom dashboards to monitor key metrics and understand your performance indicators. Now, I know that was probably a lot of information, but what I want to do is get you into a demo so that you can see exactly what Odoo can do for you. And whoop, let's jump right in. So this is our demo database, and this is where all the magic happens. Now, before I jump into Studio itself, one of the things that I do want to point out and let you know is that Studio is something that only comes with the custom plan. If you're familiar with Odoo's pricing, the Studio option comes with that custom plan. And if you do not see this little icon here on the top right corner, if you do have that custom plan, no problem at all. Easy solution. You go into your app store, think of it like your iOS or Android device, and then you type Studio. Once you do, you're going to see that application here, and you can go ahead and install it. Once you install it, you are going to see that little pencil and screwdriver icon on the top right corner. So just a little tip, if you are on the custom plan and you do not see this option, it's just a simple one-click install from the App Store. Now that we're here, we're in our lovely Odoo dashboard. I'm going to jump into our CRM application. Now, this is our lovely CRM dashboard. This is a Kanban view. So this is one of these default views that we have in Odoo. And you can see here in the top, you have multiple different views to choose from. Based on your requirements and your flexibility, you can choose whether you prefer a list view to be your default view or the Kanban view to be your default view. And this is where Odoo Studio comes into play. And this is that customization aspect of it, where you can change a particular view to suit your business requirements. Now, what I mean by that is I'm just going to simply click on one of these opportunities. And this is my opportunity page. Now, there's a lot of information here for you, but I'm going to skip all this and go directly into Studio by clicking this little pencil and screwdriver icon. And this is your back-end, simple beginner, no code, no programming skill required in order for you to use this Studio. It's a lot of drag and drop functionalities. As you can see here on the left side, you can add new fields, add new components, and you can even choose from existing fields that already is there in your Odoo database. The next thing that I do want to cover before I jump into any customizations is this option here at the top, which is your menu. And within the menu, as I just mentioned before, if you prefer utilizing the list view as your default view, you would click on this view menu button. And here you can see with Studio, I can simply and easily be able to tell that Kanban view is my default view. And I want to change this view to my list view. So I see my list view here. I can click on this ellipses and make it as my default view. Once that's done, anytime I come into my CRM application, I'm going to see all my opportunities listed as a list view. And the way I know that this is only going to affect my CRM application, not any of my other applications, is on the top left, I see the application that I've selected, and that is my CRM application. I'm not going to make that change right now for you guys, so I'm just going to come back. I'm going to close it. And now I'm going to talk about what kind of changes I can make within a particular opportunity. So what can I customize as I build out my database, as I get more requirements, as I need more information from my customers as my business grows. So you can see here within the opportunity, I have some information already being captured, but maybe there's some additional information that I want to capture. I don't see an option here that says, hey, when do I want to close this opportunity by? Or when is my customer expecting to close this opportunity by? And with the help of Odoo Studio, you can customize your view to make it simple and easy. So I'm going to go back into that studio option. And here I'm going to be able to select one of the fields and just drag and drop that date field to my form. And while it loads, here I can see that there's a field that's automatically been added. Again, I didn't need to add any code. I didn't need to do anything special. I just did a simple drag and drop. I want it to be exactly under the salesperson. If I want to change and move it around, I can simply just drag and drop it and place it where I want to place it. So the look and feel becomes very customizable based on what you want and how you want to see the data. I'm going to add this name as expected closing date. So this way I know that anytime that I create an opportunity and I am building the information, I am going to add an expected closing date so I know when this opportunity is expected to close by. One of the neat things with Odoo as well is with that optimization that I mentioned, you can add any kind of conditional access or conditional policies or conditional rights to a particular field within Odoo. So if you want to make something a required field where someone, when they create a new opportunity, they are required to add an expected closing date, you can add that required checkbox. You can select it and make that expected closing date a mandatory field for any time a new opportunity gets added. The same thing goes for making something invisible based on a conditional access, and the same thing for read only. And this is where that access control comes into play, where you not only create a field as a read only for everybody in the organization, but including the access controls where you can set specific access for certain individuals or certain employees who may have access to CRM and the opportunity, but you don't want them to change that expected closing date. I'll jump into access control in just a bit, but for now, what I want to do is I want to show you something very neat and cool with Odoo. So what I'm going to do is now I added that expected closing date as one of my fields. Now, let's say I want to know, okay, how many days is it from this expected closing date? From today to this expected closing date, how many days do I have to work with this customer? And one of the neat things you can do is there is this related field here that I'm just going to simply drag and drop under the expected closing date. And I'm going to select that field, expected closing date, that I see right here. Once I confirm this, you can see here on the left side that you have what's called a widget. And this widget, you can change it from a date to either a date range, or you can add remaining days. So this is a great way for you to keep track of your opportunities and say, okay, if my expected closing date is going to be towards the end of the month, how many days do I have from today until the end of the month in order for me to close this opportunity? So I'm going to do remaining days here, and you can see it already says in 8 days because it's considering today as June 20th. So my related field is going to show me in exactly how many days. Let's say remaining days. Great. So once I do that, I'm going to close it out and let's see how we can test these new fields that we just added in Odoo. So if I add an expected closing date of 28th, It's going to show me that your remaining days is in 8 days. And this is a neat way for you to organize your CRM pipeline. And the studio option is not only just available in CRM, it's available in almost every single application that you have in Odoo. So, should you need to improve your processes or your workflows, whether it's in sales, whether it's in inventory, whether it's in manufacturing, whatever your business operations require you to use, you can go ahead and use Studio to customize it and add these additional fields to make your workflows a lot more smoother and a lot more efficient. Great. Now, with that being said, that's the customization aspect of it. Now, the other thing that I do want to touch on is the optimization. I know this can be a little bit more of a heavy topic, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands that once I come into Studio, what are some of the optimizations that I can do? And one of the cool things with Odoo is using the automation functionality. Now, let's say you have a busy pipe. Maybe you have no time to really send out any emails to customers. As you're moving them from stage to stage, you don't really have that manual time or labor in order to be able to send something out. Like maybe they need to sign a contract, or maybe they just need to know that you've acknowledged the fact that they're moving forward along the process. And you can add an automation by just clicking on this automations menu button. And you can go ahead and, as you can see here, you can go ahead and set some sort of an automated rule. Now, when I create a new rule, I can say, hey, this is going to be a send email. Let's just do that. And I can go ahead and add an action. Now, anytime something happens and I need to send some sort of an email, I can go ahead and send an email out. You can also choose from templates, making your life a whole lot easier. Now, I'm just going to say welcome demo as one of the email templates since this is our demo environment. You can customize this templates how you'd like. You can add as many templates as you want. We just have just the one in the demo environment. But if I want to know exactly what are the contents in this welcome demo email, there is this internal link that I can go into and I can customize my template to suit my specific touch, the way I communicate with my customers. And if there's any data that I need to pull from an existing field that's already there in Odoo, all you need to do is simply add the little backslash and you can customize your email template however you'd like. You can add checklists, a table, quotes, code, you can add banners, you can add images, stars, anything that you need. And the last thing is your dynamic placeholder. This is something that's highly underutilized. And so if you ever need to add an existing field into your email template, you will need to utilize that dynamic placeholder in order for you to be able to customize your template, email template, the way you want it to. Now, a dynamic placeholder is going to be displayed with this little blue, I guess you may want to call it a box that's highlighted around a specific text. Now, I can tell here Deco Addict is probably coming from the customer name. My company, San Francisco, is probably coming from the field name company. And so you can add as many different dynamic placeholders as you'd like. Feel free to go through these and add what you need to add in order to have your email get sent out the way you want it to. You can also add any attachments. So should you want to add a document, as I mentioned, if someone needs to sign some sort of NDA or if someone needs to, just get familiarity, like maybe it's a brochure, maybe it's an image, you can go ahead and attach an image and send it out. So anytime you save and close it, and anytime you want someone to get an email, you can go ahead and send that email out. So you can add as many automations rules as you want to make your life easier and automate your process so you optimize your time, you make things more efficient. So if you're a single business owner or if you have a small team, it makes your life and their life easier by adding these automation rules. The next thing that I do want to touch on outside of automation rules is the access controls. Now, I did mention very briefly that should you, I apologize, let me just exit out of this and I'm going to come into access control. So should you need to add any kind of access limitations to certain users, you can go ahead and set that up. Now we can see here that it's choosing a particular model. And if you need to add it from a certain user perspective, you can do it from the settings option. I can jump into that in just a second to show you, but I wanted to give you an idea of how this access control looks like. So here I can see the name, the model, the group, and I can see what kind of access this individual has to this particular model. So if I want someone to only have read access, I make sure I remove the write, create, and delete access from their model view. Once that's done, then they'll only have access to what they need to have access to. They can only change what they can change and not change what they cannot change. Right? So that's how you can utilize Odoo to kind of not just build your own application, but you can customize it so that you add your own fields that suits your style, that suits your business processes, and then you can optimize it by adding certain automations, by adding conditional access policies, or making something required versus invisible, or you can even add access controls for each individual specific user. Now, I know that was a lot. I hope that kind of helped you understand Odoo Studio just a little bit more. But the last thing that I do want to show you before I kind of jump into a Q&A is showing you how that list view, or how you can set that default view and how that reflects for you going forward. Right. So let's say I go into Studio, I'm going to go into my views, and I'm going to use list view as my default view. So I'm going to show you exactly what this is going to look like and what additional options you'll have when you utilize Odoo's list view. So I'm going to close this out. This is my CRM pipeline, and now I can see that this is my list view. This is my default view. One of the cool things with Odoo is if you added a new field, like we did for each opportunity, we added an expected closing date, and we also added a remaining date field. Now, let's say I want to see that information on my CRM list view over here. I can simply click on this little filter icon. And this gives me the opportunity to add additional columns so that I can see from a initial glance what information is associated to that opportunity and if there's anything that I need to touch on. And if I don't see that newly created field over here, no problem at all. With Odoo Studio, you can add a custom field. So once I click on that, it's going to take me back into my studio. And now here I can kind of tailor my view and add columns. I can remove columns, making it very simple and easy for me to see the information I need to see. And since this is a field that we've already added, I know that I'm going to need to go into my existing fields. I'm going to use this drop down and I'm going to search for expected closing date. So now that I see that option here, I'm just going to simply drag and drop it. And you can see here, there's one here that says June 28th. That's something that we already set up. So you already know and you see it live as you're making that customization, as you're making that change, you're able to see it right there and then. Now that I have my fields and I have my view, I know everything that I want to see. I can go ahead and close it out. And now anytime I come back into my CRM pipeline, let's go out. I'm going to come back into my CRM pipeline, and this shows you that, hey, I made the default view as my list view. I added that new column. I see that column here. I see the information that I need to see. So I can go ahead and make my business processes. I can make my decisions. I can choose what I need to do going forward. And that is how you can utilize Odoo Studio to maximize your business potentials. So whether you need to improve your workflows, whether you need to add some sort of automation to make your life easier, to make your job easier, or to make others around you easier, maybe you want to wow them, Odoo Studio is perfect for that. With that being said, I hope I was able to kind of give you a better understanding of Odoo Studio functionality. Now, I do want to take some time. I want to make sure that I answer some questions. So I want to go ahead and come back to my slide. And I want to make sure that I take care of any questions that we have. All right. So let's go ahead and see what questions. All right. We have a question here. Can you customize a report that contains a lot of data, amounts, and currencies as an advanced report and not texts that are of no benefit? The answer is absolutely. So with Odoo, you can create advanced reports that are focused on, presenting data that you want to see. So if it includes lots of currencies, if it includes high amounts, if it includes, sensitive information, whatever you need the report to show you, you would go through our report types, you would define that report structure, and you would decide what kind of layout and what kind of structure you want to have for that report. So for example, like for financial reports, this might include like balance sheets, might include income statements, it might even include like cash flow statements. And then you just select those specific data fields to be able to show in that report. I hope that answers that question. We have another great question, and it is it possible to use Studio to customize the bank reconciliation widget, Kanban view, or is it not allowed in Odoo? So this is a really good question. And Odoo Studio, unfortunately, does not support customization of Kanban views directly. So Studio is kind of primarily designed for customizing your forms, your list views, your reports within Odoo applications. So the bank reconciliation widget in Odoo typically uses the Kanban view to display records, such as your bank statements or transactions. And customizing this Kanban view directly using Studio is not supported out of the box. So Kanban views usually require customizations at the code level, and we do use XML and Python. So if you do have some coding experience, that is something that you can do to modify your behavior, layout, or functionality. All right, some great questions. All right. Okay, we have another question here. Can I collaborate with other users on projects in Odoo Studio? The answer is yes, you can. So Odoo Studio it does support collaboration amongst users working on projects. So you can share access and collaborate on app designs and development. Make sure you review it, comment on each other's work, and make sure that you have a high quality custom application. All right. And great question. Is there additional cost if I want to use Odoo Studio? And that is a great question. That is something that I did cover in the beginning. So no, the answer is no. You don't need to have there is no additional cost to using Studio. However, you are required to be on that custom plan, as the standard plan does not accommodate any customizations. The standard plan is Odoo out of the box. So should you need to add these customizations, these workflows changes, the processes, and adding fields, you would need to be on that custom plan. Okay, great. And I think we'll probably have time for one more question. That question is, what types of applications can be built with Odoo Studio? And that's a great question. So Odoo Studio can be used to create a wide range of business applications, including CRM systems, inventory management tools, project management applications, HR solutions, and more. So the versatility of Odoo Studio allows user to tailor applications to basically any part and process of their business. All right. And that's all the time that we have for these questions. I do apologize if there are any additional questions that I did not get to. Please feel free to email me. You can reach me at gova@odoo.com, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have about Odoo Studio. Now, that being said, I want to thank you for your time. Please give us a shout out. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on TikTok. And that's how we do it.